Mando's like, so you've been hiding your abilities the whole time?
Yeah.
Wow. And he's like, and it just drops the act. Yeah, my name's Grogu. I've been pretending to be a baby this whole time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just mime a cigar there. It's like he's the baby in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Hail, Internet! It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We are here talking about The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 5, The Jedi. We open right away with the Jedi. I mean, actually, Ahsoka Tano, I think, is technically not a Jedi at this point.
Really?
In Star Wars canon. I think she left the Jedi. But
ex-Jedi.
Ex-Jedi and Force wielder, obviously. I guess you could also say the title, The Jedi, could theoretically apply to Baby Yoda, because he was hanging out in Coruscant. But anyway. So we don't have to wait. It's not like, is Ahsoka going to show up at the end? No. She shows up right at the beginning, and we see her with the her twin white lightsabers that we saw her use in Rebels, and which I think is the first time we've seen lightsabers used in The Mandalorian. We saw a dark saber, hey, look, I have a dark saber, but actually used in combat. I think it's the first time.
No.
She is.
What was that? It's like, I just crashed. Let me just turn on my lightsaber.
I think you had to use it to a can opener to get out of the ship.
Oh, okay. Thanks for reminding me. I was just like, why is he? There's no one around. So he did use it.
Then he took he had a can of beans, and he's like, there we go. All right, so
he did use it. This is for combat, though.
Good point. All right, he used it to get out of the ship. So Ahsoka attacks the soldiers that are guarding this walled city on Corvus. They've got a big bell that they ring, blah, blah, trouble. And basically Ahsoka takes out the guards and then talks to the magistrate and basically says, look, magistrate, until you give me the information I want, I'm going to give you 1 day to think about it. I'm coming back. If you don't give me what I want, there will be trouble. And so that's kind of our intro. Now, it occurred to me, what if the magistrate had just said, you want to know where Grand Admiral Thrawn is? Okay, he's at these coordinates. Okay.
Would she have lived? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, she's just been that's all. Go ahead and continue to abuse your populace. All right, bye. It's got what I need. I don't know. I mean, I feel like not. I feel like part of the game was also must liberate town, but it really did.
I was thinking it's not like Moff Gideon. Smart enough to give all his lieutenants little cyanide pills or whatever, so that you want to get information out of me, and they die. So that's what I was thinking about for her. It's like, what's wrong with her? It's like this guy doesn't give his people cyanide teeth or something.
You're saying Thrawn doesn't hand out the cyanide teeth?
Yeah.
All right.
He's going to regret it.
So we'll take it on faith that Ahsoka also had the good of the populace in mind and not simply, I need information to get to the next thing I need. But gives her a day, disappears. At the end of the story, we finish with Mando and Baby Yoda, now known as Grogu, heading off to the planet Tython in search of an old temple that perhaps Grogu can use to communicate with other Force users. Ahsoka watches them leave. She stays on the planet. We see she kind of smiles a little and then walks off. Theoretically, she's also walking away from the plot because I feel like we're probably not coming back to Ahsoka this season.
Oh.
I think. I don't know. Maybe you can disagree with me on that. But so that's our framing.
Okay.
Open with Ahsoka taking out a bunch of guards. End with mission accomplished and Mando and Baby Yoda heading off to Tython and Ahsoka staying behind. Had a very samurai motif.
Sure.
Kind of you've got this. It's kind of like a medieval walled city.
Yeah.
You have this final combat, which is swords versus spear.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I was thinking about, or at least you're making me now think about it, Hidden Fortress.
Ah, all right. Very good, very good. The idea that the magistrate, her inner walled compound, very kind of Japanese architecture inspired.
Sure.
There was a lot going on there, and the little pond, and anyway. So yeah, I think it was attempting to evoke kind of those style of films. New guest star, Michael Biehn of Terminator and Tombstone fame.
And Aliens.
And it kind of reminded me, since you have Timothy Olyphant earlier this season from Deadwood, they're kind of pulling from some kind of awesome westerns in a way to add to this season, which is a great idea. And, thumbs up, Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn, unfortunately, seems to be no more, so he's probably not in the show anymore. There's a lot of little things that happen here, but we're left with two big questions regarding Grogu. Are we going to call him Grogu, or are we going to call him Baby Yoda?
Well, I'm going to Grogu.
Okay, we're calling him Grogu then. No more Baby Yoda.
I mean, okay. I think it's worth saying I'm in love with the name.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not
they could
terrible. It's just like,
I think they could have done better.
Yeah. They had a while to think about it.
In fact, so we know Yoda, and there's like Yiddy or Yaddy or
Yaddle.
Yaddle. That sucked.
So you're glad they didn't do another Y name, in other words?
Yes, I'm very glad that it's not another Y
Yogu.
name.
You're like,
Yeah.
Okay. It's yogurt.
I think I would have liked yogurt better.
Yeah, was it yogurt in Spaceballs?
Although actually, maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I would have felt like it was like McClunky.
Yeah. McClunky. So we learn a lot about Grogu, but we're left with two questions. One question is, who saved Grogu during Order 66? He was in Coruscant. That's when Anakin turned into Darth Vader, essentially. Showed up, killed all the younglings. He was a youngling. He was hanging out right there. And someone managed to save him.
Yeah, if you had to guess, who would you say saved him?
I think you got to go into the lore a little bit. I mean, there's a few folks that survived that, so there's a couple of options. I think I've read a little bit on this. It seems like one of the more popular opinions is kind of the librarian who was also Force sensitive at the Academy, Jocasta Nu, might be the person who might have picked up a little infant and headed off.
Okay.
Perhaps. I think maybe Yaddle survived that too. Maybe Yaddle could have done it. I don't know.
I noticed you haven't mentioned Yoda.
Yeah, I know. Well, we see Yoda during that. I mean, we see him fighting against the Emperor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that.
So you think he was occupied?
I think so. I think we kind of know that trajectory. And so the fact that we didn't see it, I mean, sure, could it have happened off screen? I suppose.
It's funny. Like, I haven't. My guess would not be Yoda. Only because I don't know why. He just doesn't seem. I don't know. I just. I think
it's a little too on the nose.
Like, it's a little too on the nose, and I kind of feel like he'd have other concerns. You know. And
we may not find out. I mean, that could be a thing where it's like, look, he got saved, yada yada, move on. Yoda, move on. Yaddle yaddle.
Yaddle yaddle, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing we will find out is the other question, which is, who is going to be the Jedi that responds to Grogu when he inevitably sits on this seeing stone on Tython and reaches out with the Force to parts unknown?
Our theories about what would happen to the show if anybody,
like, I'll train him. I guess I'll take him away.
The only way I could imagine it is if whoever comes is like, okay, I will train him if you stay with me.
Sure.
I
need to be guarded. This is a dangerous thing, or whatever.
Yeah, or or because he's bonded with you, then you should stay with us.
Well, there's also the fact that they've got a built-in catch in here, which is, they'll sense you and then come find you. Okay, well that could take seasons. I don't know, like I don't know that's like the next episode. They're like, oh, here we are. So I think
I mean, like, yeah, well, I guess we're going to see, right? But he goes to a planet and puts Grogu down on this spot, and then Grogu. Well, there's no one who can explain to the Mandalorian what's going on. He's just gonna be like,
here, take this gear shifter. Yeah. All right, so throw it out into space. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's no one to tell him what's going on. So it's not like okay, and now we just wait.
Well, and so Ahsoka says it's Grogu's choice,
right?
Like,
right, but who's there to tell him what the choice is?
Right, exactly. It's
is
a choice.
There some sort of Grogu interpreter there?
Yeah.
Is it really? She couldn't even bother to go with them. I mean, it's like, geez, you got your information.
She got the information
for a while.
She got the information. The town is now saved.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Why are you still there? Why are you hanging out? You're like, no, I got some more killing to do. I don't know. Yeah. That's a great point. Like, she could have taken a little detour. You know what? I'm not going to train him and we'll talk about, that's an interesting little subplot there.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about that.
But sure, I can at least take you to Tython and do the process by which we figure out his mentor. Nope. Yeah. No. I will only be so helpful. She's like
take the baby X-wing. There. The baby will figure it out.
She's like the X-wing pilots that like save Mando by killing the big spider, but they're like, nah, we'll just leave you. Yeah. I know your ship is you'll figure your way out of this ice cavern. Yeah. Do you have thoughts on who this mentor might be? I do.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, there's some obvious.
Let it rip. I don't have any thoughts.
So the person that I don't want it to be, and I think it seems to be the more popular choice, is Luke Skywalker. I'm like, come on, don't do it. I like the fact that this is not a Skywalker story. Right, he would certainly be recast. I've heard people saying like, Sebastian Stan.
Like, no, I mean, I don't know why. Anybody who says they want it, they don't want that.
They don't really want it. I know. Don't do it. Don't.
I mean, personally, I would not care if they recast Luke Skywalker.
Sure, if they made a young
I wouldn't
Luke,
care.
But I agree that that's not the problem. Yeah, recasting it wouldn't be the problem. I just don't want him. I don't want him in this show. I don't think it's a good idea.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I want a bigger universe.
Yeah. It certainly would be better to have someone else, even though I think it runs into the whole problem of, they have to figure out which Jedi are alive because they kind of set up that all of them are dead.
I mean, the most obvious choice to me is Ezra Bridger. And here's why. Ezra Bridger, he is the central character from the Rebels show.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't know him.
That's why you don't know it. But that's Dave Filoni's show. So he's certainly very familiar with Ezra Bridger. He's already brought Ahsoka Tano was on Rebels. Bo-Katan was on Rebels. These are characters that are showing up from the cartoon. He's obviously pushing them into the show. And at the end of the series, at the end of Rebels, Ezra basically sacrificed himself, and he and Thrawn, Admiral Thrawn, hyperspaced off to parts unknown and may have died, probably didn't, but disappeared. And so Ahsoka Tano, the last thing we see in the series is Ahsoka Tano going to find Ezra. Well, that was like her. So by looking for Thrawn, she's also looking for Ezra because she figures probably that they went to the same place. So I think, it all seems to me to make sense that they've thrown in Filoni's thrown in all of these little side pieces around
Ahsoka
Ezra.
Tano is trying to find Ezra.
Yep.
It'll be ironic then if
That's
she's
true.
like, go ahead, figure out yourself. I'm going to go someplace else to find Ezra.
And maybe that's part of her. Maybe this is part of her thinking of like, maybe if a student reaches out, maybe this will get Ezra to respond. And
yeah, so but then why go with him then if she thinks
that's
that?
A good point.
The only person I can think of, I think he died, the blind guy in Rogue One, right?
Yes, they all died.
Yeah, they all died. So he would have been great.
Just Ezra, a very powerful Force user, and he is alive. It seems that we get the idea if Thrawn is alive, right, then he's probably alive, and we don't know what he's been doing all this time, and he's a Dave Filoni, character. So it feels like that's the guy that Filoni might choose, but. That's just my thought. I mean, there are people saying Mace Windu. I'm like, Mace Windu, really? I'd love it, but
if it sucked if he put Grogu down, and he,
sure.
A Jedi came and was like, I'm not going to train him either.
Right. Or I mean, I have a feeling this could be a very interesting scene. Like when he reaches out, maybe it's one of these things where all these different Force users sense his presence.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's like somebody I don't know who the dark side Force user would be, but somebody maybe is like, wait, I could manipulate this young child. I do look forward to that scene, which I think is going to take place in the last episode. I think that's going to be I don't think they're going to get there next episode. This show doesn't seem to, like, he's going to be like, oh, we got engine trouble. Whatever. Right,
okay, so you think he's going to sit him down on the little spot and then it's like, okay, well, it'll come next episode or the following episode,
or it'll show up next season, kind of thing. Like he's gonna look, I found Ezra Bridger. Wow. All right, well, I'm on the other side of the universe, so I'll get to you in a few years.
Wow.
You don't think that? So you feel like it's gonna be much more immediate?
I mean, I don't know. Actually, I feel like because it would change the nature. I can't imagine. I think I agree with you that I don't think Millennium would give him up to someone to train him, and therefore that means that does he have a home base where
Yoda now,
where Grogu is trained, and then he has his little adventures and he leaves or something, So it's hard for me to imagine it continuing with this aspect of Grogu being trained. And a Jedi being involved. So it's hard for me to imagine that. So I really don't know what's going to happen. In a way, I'm inclined to think the thing that would feel like it sucks is the thing that's most likely to happen.
Oh, okay. Which is?
It's like, oh, no, sorry, we can't train him either. No, he just can't be trained. Sorry.
Oh, okay. He's untrainable. So let's talk about that. So Ahsoka.
Yeah, the whole idea about this, it always has bothered me. How I think it's been poorly thought out in terms of the Force. So it's better if you're really young, younger than Anakin was in the prequels. They were saying he was old, and he was like 9 or 10 or something ridiculous. So, so it's better if you're really young. And if you got somebody that you're connected to emotionally, that's bad. It's like, what the hell kind of crap is this?
Now this is, you bring up an interesting point. Here's a kid in Grogu who was trained. She said he had several masters.
Yeah.
So he almost certainly had, for instance, Yoda had to have been one of his masters. Even when she says Yoda, he looks up like, oh yeah. So he's already been at least partially trained.
Right.
So for him to be like, oh, but in the interim, he's gotten fear and attachment, so he can't return to his training. I mean, man, there's a lot of in the way, supposedly.
Well, it's sort of like if you're a Jedi, just good luck. They just expect you to go bad. It's
well, and I think that is discussed. I think in some of the Legends materials that there are some works that question the wisdom of the Jedi going like, look, we just need to be justice robots. No physical, no attachments, no emotional. We shouldn't love anything. Just emotionless robots that dispense justice. Oops, that went wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that has been something that's been discussed.
It's interesting, an idea that at some point, by the time the sequels come around, Grogu would be in his adolescence, I guess, or something.
Yeah, now this is interesting. This episode.
And actually, to be honest with you, what I would actually hope for is it's some kind, puts him down in the spot, and some kind of aging thing happens. Because this whole 50 years, and he's a baby crap.
But see now, in this episode, I always assumed, and I think because that's what we were shown, that he was an infant, like he, ba ba da ba 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 da kind of thing. But what we learn in this episode is I get the feeling he's more like 5 or something like that, because she says, "Oh, he was learning from these different masters. Then he was saved, and then it goes dark for him. But then he learned to hide his powers because he was afraid that of the Order 66 thing happening to him. Now, all that stuff suggests a self-awareness that you don't have when you're like, da ba da ba ba.
No. Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, how old is he then? I mean, in terms of his emotional maturity.
Yeah.
It feels like he's older than I thought. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it. Like, okay.
I guess, who knows? The idea that you would train a baby anyway.
Right.
So stupid.
Wouldn't it just be hilarious if, like, next episode, Mando's like, so you've been hiding your abilities the whole time?
Yeah.
Wow. And he's like, and it just drops the act. Yeah, my name's Grogu. I've been pretending to be a baby this whole time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just mime a cigar there. It's like he's the baby in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes, he is. He's the Who Framed Roger Rabbit baby.
You start looking up.
Where's my agent?
Looking up women's skirts.
Can I just have the damn ball that hangs out on the gear shifter? Is it too much to ask? Jeez. Anyway, no, he probably is not going to do that. They're headed to Tython, and she mentions it's this ancient temple. I looked this up a little bit because I was a little confused. I was like, wait, wasn't the original Jedi temple on Ahch-To, which is in the sequels where Luke's hanging out? The answer is yes, but the temple on Tython predates the Jedi.
Oh.
It's the precursor of the Jedi. They're called like the Jedi or something like that. Anyway, so it's actually, where they're going is older than Ahch-To. The reward in this particular episode is the spear, the Beskar spear.
Yes.
The magistrate tries to use it to encourage Mando to go take out Ahsoka, and then he eventually gets the spear. It occurred to me that the Beskar spear might be a weapon that he uses against the Darksaber, perhaps. I can imagine a fight, one-on-one duel with Moff Gideon, where he has a weapon that can withstand. We've seen that Beskar now can withstand lightsaber attacks. So he's got a spear that does so. I know. I'm thinking that it will enter the plot in some way, and not simply be decoration on his back. So Ahsoka doesn't want to repeat the same mistake with Anakin. She, was front row center to watching Anakin's fall, and so justifiably so, I suppose. She's like, look, I've got a anecdotal evidence of one that if you take someone who's got a lot of fear in him, then train him and he gets really powerful, then he goes crazy and is bad. So I ain't doing it. But I'll give it to someone who can.
It's like hearing about this has made me more curious about those episodes.
They do go into this stuff quite a bit.
Because the whole thing about Anakin turns evil in the prequels wasn't very convincing. So just to get
he wasn't
that
particularly
greater
evil, and then he was evil. He kind of
just to get a greater sense of that turning. I'm probably gonna go back and watch those. So
all right, yeah. Some Clone Wars in particular would be where you would want to get that stuff. Yeah. So Ahsoka eventually, we get the idea that she gets the information anyway about Grand Admiral Thrawn. She's got her lightsaber up to the magistrate's neck. It's like, tell me where your master is, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's a Grand Admiral, so that obviously suggests a hierarchy at which he is a pretty high level. Does that mean that is he? I'm assuming he's in the same group, like the same group that Moff Gideon is in. Would Moff Gideon be a lower member on the totem pole, and Grand Admiral Thrawn is up here, perhaps? But Thrawn is a very popular figure in Legends, and he did show up in the Rebels show as well. And so if there was going to be a spin-off show, I assume Ahsoka would probably be like, that would be her nemesis, would be Grand Admiral Thrawn. So the idea that the magistrate is working for Grand Admiral Thrawn is interesting because, she apparently like industrialized this planet. It was supposed to be a forest planet, and she just wrecked the ecology in order to help this fleet of spaceships, apparently the post-Empire remnants. And so, you see this, instead of a forest, it's polluted. There's these dead trees everywhere. I noticed that she manages to keep her own in her compound, she keeps, nature going. But the planet itself has been destroyed through her actions, which I thought was a cool turn. I was expecting like a Forest Moon of Endor type thing, and instead I was like, oh, okay. Let's talk about this thing that I've mentioned it a couple episodes ago, and it kind of really came to the forefront in this episode. It's the overpowered nature of Mando's armor, right? So in this episode, we learn that it can block lightsaber attacks, and doesn't seem to take any damage either. Like, geez. And there's that scene where Michael Biehn and Mando have the standoff, kind of the Western style. I'm going to draw, and Michael Biehn tries to outwit him, like, oh, look, I'm giving up. No, I'm not. And Mando, draws on him. But in my mind, I was thinking, like, well, who cares if Michael Biehn draws on him first? It's a blaster pistol. There is no way that's going through Mando's armor. So, in fact, he might just shoot himself, like, ping, poom, pshaw. So some of the tension was taken out of that scene, in my mind, just because that armor is so damn good. Scenes like that, I think, will become more and more problematic in terms of, like, the stakes just won't be there. I feel like they've got to find a way to have a vulnerability to that armor. Or
so what do you think? Maybe they should come up with some sort of Judas blaster?
The Judas blaster, Luke Cage style. Yeah, I didn't like the Judas bullets from Luke Cage. It's true.
No?
Wait.
It helps them hurt him.
Right, I know. I guess I didn't see Luke Cage quite as unbeatable as Mando, and maybe I had no reason to think that. I don't think they can like have him lose the armor permanently. I don't think that's a thing. He'll have the armor.
You think at some point he could lose it, or are you just imagining some special...
I think there'll be a temporary loss. I think he will be forced maybe to remove. Maybe somebody again will hold little Grogu hostage and demand he take it off or whatever. He'll have to accomplish something
sort of,
without it.
Some sort of band, da 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 da.
Yes.
While he takes it off.
Da 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 da.
Boom boom.
Da.
Boom boom.
Yes, he does a burlesque act, and then Moff Gideon shows up and attacks. He's, oh wait, I got it. I got to get back in my outfit.
Yeah, I can't. That seems like not likely to happen.
Okay, but I think it is likely that he'll have to accomplish something like fighting Moff Gideon or something without the armor, at least temporarily. I mean, he'll put it back on, and the armor is going to be with him throughout the series. But I just feel like they're going to have to come up with creative ways. To have him be vulnerable at times. Because I feel like the armor just makes it a little too easy for him to accomplish things. Oh, I got to walk through a hallway filled with stormtroopers shooting at me? I'm fine. Ow.
I mean, he still has to protect anybody that he's with.
Right, and you're right. That's the weakness, is the baby.
Yeah.
Right, I guess. But
and anybody else he's with.
Is he with that many people?
Well,
I don't know. I guess you're right. He's with one person per episode. In this case, he's with Ahsoka Tano. So it's like, okay, I think she can handle herself. But
yeah, I mean, when he, okay, so are you saying that he wasn't really in danger then at the end of the first season when he was surrounded by all those stormtroopers? He should have just walked out and killed them all.
Well, I guess the danger is explosions. I think like fire and like things blowing up around him are probably endangering him. And I guess that giant gun, they had the gun that was on the tripod.
Yeah.
That's meant for taking out buildings. I guess that could take him out.
Yeah. So what happened is it would smash all that armor up against a wall, and like, oh, this armor's in good shape, but he'd be dead.
Yes. So right, you're right. Is he completely invulnerable? No. Okay, good point. But it just seems like the typical foes he runs up against are like, "I'll blast you."
You're
like,
felt like
you?
he wasn't in a powerful position in the last episode. No, I mean in the episode where he saved Grogu. He was surrounded by those people. It didn't seem like he.
Because he had the baby with him.
Maybe.
That's why he was vulnerable. I think without Yoda, little
because he
Grogu,
just looked so tired. It's sort of like I don't know why he wasn't like I didn't need your help. Other Mandalorians, fake Mandalorians who take off their helmets. I could have had this. It did look like they saved his ass.
That's a good point. I felt like without little Grogu, he could have done his little whistling birds and rocketed away. Whatever. I felt like he probably would have been okay. He wears that cape. It's like he should learn from the Incredibles.
Yes, he should.
I feel like you use that rocket pack and it just catches that cloak right on fire, and you're like, oh god, whatever. I'm interested to see. I almost feel like they're writing themselves into a little bit of a corner when it comes to how powerful that armor is, but. It's a challenge I'm sure they're willing to accept, and it'll be interesting to see how they make him seem vulnerable as time goes on. And
because I feel like you can think about people fighting him or whatever. They're they could drop heavy things on him that that could hurt him.
Just
and
a blaster pistol
too when it's like you have to
it.
accomplish a certain task in a time manner that is difficult. So it's like, okay, these 30 guys are up against me, but then the place is going to blow up if I don't get to,
Yep.
So there are ways.
Yeah. Right. Just if you're a villain and you're staring down Mando, just leave the blaster pistol in the holster. Yeah. Like, find another way. Do something else. I'm going to jump in this water. There's a pool nearby, thank goodness. So yes, I don't think they're going to reach Tython next episode. If they do, that'd be great. We'd have a couple episodes after that to see where they go, but I have a feeling on the way to Tython, for instance, he's being tracked. By
that's true.
Moff Gideon, so that could come into play really quickly here. Anyway.
Well, and if they are able to tell, if they don't know about this planet, but they might have heard of this planet, so they might decide to it looks like he's going there. Let's get there first.
Right.
And then he's got to, maybe that's the final thing where it's like, okay, here we are on the planet. I've got to get the baby to the damn Gideon.
Look who's in our way. Yeah. Look who's sitting on the rock.
It's going to take me at least as long as this episode to get him onto the thing, and then the season's over. Huh?
Or they blow up the rock right before he gets to put Grogu on it. Oh, man.
Let's get a pile of the rocks.
Yeah.
Put him on top of that.
He's using, rubber cement to try to, that's close enough. So anyway, looking forward to seeing how this resolves itself. I thought Ahsoka Tano was great. Rosario Dawson did a really good job.
Yes, I agree.
Some cool action scenes. I like the little mini fight between Ahsoka and Mando. So cool action.
Yeah, and their final battle, that her final
fight
opponent
with the magistrate.
There,
Morgan.
The magistrate there. She apparently had a long career doing stunts, and the way that she looked like a formidable opponent for knocked away one of her sabers there, so she was down to one.
Yeah. No, the thought was I think there was some credit given or something that mentioned that somehow the magistrate was from Dathomir. It's like she was of the same group that Darth Maul was from. Anyway, so that perhaps she did have some special training. Also, I think there's the fact that Ahsoka Tano wanted to get information from her, so didn't want to kill her. So maybe it was holding her punches a little bit in order to I need to interrogate this person. I don't know, but
there you go. That's another way that
that's
Mando can be defeated. I've got a secret that you want to know.
Must stop pummeling you long enough to ask questions.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right. Well, any further thoughts, good sir?
No.
All right. We'll be back talking about Discovery and The Mandalorian. And
Yes.
I think The Expanse is coming up fairly quickly as well. So we'll probably jump in on that season. So stay tuned for that. Thanks as always, Paul. Appreciate it, sir.
Sure.
And have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Bye.